when fire refused to burn. Imagine being thrown into a furnace heated 7 times hotter than normal and walking out without even the smell of smoke on your clothes. This isn't fiction. This actually happened 2,600 years ago, and what occurred inside that furnace defied every law of physics known to man. Picture this. Ancient Babylon, 605 BC. The most powerful empire on earth under King Nebuchadnezzar. He's just built a golden statue 90 feet tall and 9 feet wide, taller than a 6-story building. The king's message was crystal clear. When you hear the music, bow down to my God or face the fiery furnace. But 3 young Hebrew captives, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, had a problem. Their faith forbade them from worshiping any god except the one true God. They faced an impossible choice that would test everything they believed. The day arrived. Thousands gathered on the plain of Dura. The orchestra began to play. Harps, lyres, pipes, and drums echoed across the valley. Every single person dropped to their knees. Except 3. Word quickly reached the king. Your Majesty, 3 Hebrew men refused to worship your God. Nebuchadnezzar's rage was volcanic. He summoned them immediately. I'll give you one more chance, the king declared, his voice trembling with fury. When the music plays, bow down. But if you refuse, he pointed toward the towering furnace nearby. No god will be able to rescue you from my hands. Here's what happened next, and this is where the story gets incredible. Instead of begging for mercy, instead of making excuses, these 3 young men looked the most powerful ruler on earth straight in the eyes and said, Your Majesty, we don't need to defend ourselves. If we're thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to save us from it. But even if he doesn't, we still won't worship your God or bow to your statue. Think about that for a moment. They weren't just saying God will save us. They were saying, even if God lets us die, we won't compromise. That's faith beyond human understanding. Nebuchadnezzar was so enraged that his facial expression changed completely. Heat the furnace 7 times hotter than usual, he commanded. The flames roared so violently that the soldiers who threw the 3 men in were instantly killed by the heat. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, tied up and fully clothed, tumbled into the inferno. The crowd watched in horror, expecting to see them consumed in seconds. But then something impossible happened. King Nebuchadnezzar suddenly leaped to his feet, his face pale with shock. Didn't we throw 3 men into the fire? He asked his advisers. Certainly, your Majesty, they replied. Then why do I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed? And the fourth looks like a son of the gods. The crowd pressed forward, straining to see. Inside the furnace, 4 figures walked calmly through the flames as if they were strolling through a garden. The fire that killed trained soldiers couldn't even touch them. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the king shouted. Servants of the Most High God, come out. As they emerged from the furnace, something extraordinary became clear. Not a single hair on their heads was singed. Their clothes weren't burned. They didn't even smell like smoke. The only things destroyed by that fire were the ropes that had bound them. They came out more free than when they went in. The same king who had threatened their lives now declared, Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. No other God can save like this. He promoted all 3 men and issued a decree protecting anyone who worshipped their God. But here's the most incredible part. That 4th figure in the fire? Many theologians believe it was a pre-incarnate appearance of Christ himself, walking with them through their darkest hour. This story teaches us something profound about faith and divine protection. Sometimes God delivers us in the fire, and sometimes he walks with us through it. Either way, we're never alone in our trials. When you face your own impossible choices, between what's right and what's popular, between faith and fear, remember 3 young men who chose to trust God even when death seemed certain. Their courage in the face of fire changed an empire and inspired millions for thousands of years. The fire that was meant to destroy them became the very thing that demonstrated God's power. Sometimes our greatest trials become our most powerful testimonies. That's the day fire refused to burn and heaven came down to earth.